let me ask you a question. What if today you woke up and the life you've been dreaming of was already yours? What if the business, the freedom, the relationships, the body, the happiness you've always wanted wasn't a far off possibility, something you were already living right now? See, most people are waiting. They're waiting for proof before they believe. They're waiting for money before they feel wealthy. They're waiting for love before they feel lovable. Waiting for success before they feel like a success. And that's why they stay stuck, because the waiting becomes a lifetime. But the truth is this: the fastest way to create your dream life is to act as if you already have it. Not tomorrow, someday, right now. Because your mind, your body, your energy, they don't wait for reality. They respond to belief. Think about it. Every breakthrough you've ever had started with a decision to raise your standard, decision to step up, a decision to stop living small and start acting like the person you were born to be. And when you do that, when you begin to live from that place, world has no choice but to catch up to the version of you that you've already decided to become. So if you'll stay with me for the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how to step into that power, show you how to stop living like life is happening to you and start living like life is happening for you. And if you commit to not just hearing this, but feeling it, applying it, embodying it, you will walk away from today not as the same person who walked in, but as someone who is already living their dream life. Identity is everything. Who you believe you are shapes every choice you make, every action you take, every result you create. If you see yourself as someone who is always struggling, you'll find ways to confirm it. If you see yourself as someone who always finds a way, you'll always find a way. Identity isn't what you hope for. It isn't what you say in public. It's what you whisper to yourself when nobody's watching. And that inner identity is the thermostat for your life. Think about a thermostat for a moment. You set it at 72 degrees. If the temperature drops to 65, system kicks in and brings it back up. If it rises to 80, the system cools it down until it's back at 72. That's exactly what your identity does. If you see yourself as average, if you see yourself as someone who gets by, even if you experience a moment of success, you'll eventually sabotage it and come back down to the level you believe you belong at. On the other hand, if your identity is set to extraordinary, if you see yourself as someone who creates, someone who leads, someone who lives fully, life can knock you down, but you'll always rise back up because anything less doesn't match who you believe you are. Most people don't realize that they've accepted an identity that was programmed by someone else. It might have been your parents, your culture, your friends, or a tough experience that made you believe you're not enough, not capable, not worthy of something bigger. And without even questioning it, you've built your choices around that identity. You take certain jobs, you stay in certain relationships, you live in a certain environment, not because it's what you truly want, because it's what matches the story of who you think you are. But here's the truth. Identity is not fixed. Identity can be upgraded. Identity can be reinvented. The moment you decide to act as if you already are the person who lives your dream life, everything changes. Not someday, not when the bank account fills up, not when the world applauds you, but now, in this moment. Because your destiny isn't waiting for resources, it's waiting for alignment. Your identity aligns with the future you want. The future is pulled toward you like a magnet. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone who says, I want to be fit. Sounds good, right? But their identity is still, I'm out of shape. I hate working out. I'm not disciplined. No matter how many diets they try, no matter how many gyms they join, the identity will always sabotage the result. Now imagine the same person says, I'm an athlete, someone who takes care of their body. I love movement. That shift changes everything. Suddenly eating clean isn't a punishment. It's just what an athlete does. Going to the gym isn't forced. It's simply part of living in alignment with who they are. The identity pulls the action. The same goes for money. If your identity is, I'm broke, I'm always behind. Money is hard to get. You'll unconsciously keep living at that level. But if your identity is, I'm a creator of wealth, I attract opportunities, I manage money with intelligence and purpose, then everything you do is filtered through that lens. You'll make decisions that reinforce it. And over time, the outside reality begins to mirror the inner belief. That's why when I say, act as if you are living your dream life, it's not about pretending. It's about aligning your behavior, your language, your standards with the identity of the person you know you're capable of becoming. If your dream life is one of abundance, freedom, contribution, then start asking, how would that person show up right now? How would they walk into this room? How would they speak to people? How would they treat themselves? And then do it over and over until it becomes you. Because repetition creates belief, and belief becomes identity. Most people think they need confidence before they take action. But confidence doesn't come first, identity does. When you act from a new identity, you reinforce it until it becomes unshakable. So here's the challenge I want to give you. Stop introducing yourself to yourself as the old version. Stop saying that's just how I am. That's just a story, and stories can be rewritten. The moment you say I am and fill in the blank, you are shaping your future. Words are powerful. If you say, I'm tired, I'm unlucky, I'm overwhelmed, you're reinforcing that identity. If you say, I'm powerful, I'm resilient, capable of more than I've shown, you begin to condition your nervous system to expect more from you. But it's not just words. You've got to feel it. You've got to embody it. You've got to move like that person breathe like that person, carry yourself like that person. Because your body tells your mind who you are just as much as your mind tells your body. If you slump, drag your feet, breathe shallow, you're telling your nervous system, I'm small, powerless. But if you stand tall, breathe deeply, put energy in your movements, your body begins to signal your brain, I'm alive, I'm unstoppable, I'm ready. This is why identity work is the foundation of transformation. Strategies are important, skills are important, opportunities are important, but without the right identity, you'll never fully use them. With the wrong identity, success will always slip through your fingers. With the right identity, even obstacles become fuel. The question you need to ask yourself is, what's the identity of the person who already has the life I want? Not just what they do, but who they are. Because who you are creates what you do. You do creates what you have. Too many people flip it. They wait to have before they become. They say, when I have more money, I'll be generous. When I have confidence, I'll take risks. When I have freedom, be happy. But the truth is, you become first, then you do, then you have. That's the sequence. Identity, action, results. So if you're waiting for life to change before you change, you'll be waiting forever. If you decide right now to adopt the identity of someone who lives their dream life, if you decide to think like them, move like them, show up like them, your actions will transform, your results will shift, and your destiny will change. The most powerful part, once you change your identity, nobody can take it from you. Opportunities can be lost, money can come and go, relationships can shift, but your identity, the belief of who you are, that stays. And from that foundation, you can rebuild anything, anytime, anywhere. So understand this, the life you dream of is not waiting for you in the future. It's waiting for you and your identity. The moment you step into that version of yourself, your destiny begins to unfold. Once you begin to shift your identity, there's something else that becomes absolutely critical. You've got to bring energy before the evidence shows up. Most people have it backwards, waiting for the result before they give themselves permission to feel the energy. They're waiting for the promotion before they feel confident. They're waiting for the relationship before they feel loved. They're waiting for the success before they feel worthy of celebrating. And because they wait, the moment never comes. See, life doesn't give you energy after the fact. Energy is the cause, not the effect. You don't create your dream life by sitting around hoping for evidence. Evidence comes after you decide to generate the energy first. Think about it, Zay, when was the last time you wanted to take on a challenge, but you were tired, sluggish, drained? Did you step into that challenge fully, or did you shrink back? Now think of a time when you were on fire, when your energy was electric, when you were alive, when you were unstoppable. Didn't you find a way? Didn't you do things you didn't even know you were capable of? The difference wasn't resources. The difference wasn't luck. It was energy. Energy is magnetic. People feel it before they hear your words. Opportunities are attracted to it because energy is contagious. When you walk into a room with certainty, with passion, with enthusiasm, people want to be around you. They want to be part of what you're doing. But when you walk in with doubt, hesitation, insecurity, the energy you project pushes things away. That's why bringing energy before evidence matters so much. If you wait for life to give you reasons to be excited, you'll stay in the waiting line forever. But if you bring excitement, if you bring belief, if you bring certainty before there's proof, life bends to meet you. Think of the greatest breakthroughs in history. Every innovator, every leader, every game changer acted with energy before there was evidence. The Wright brothers were building their plane. Everyone thought it was impossible. There was no evidence that human flight was possible. But they brought energy, they brought belief, they brought relentless passion, and eventually the evidence follows and builds a business from nothing. There's no evidence at the start that it will work. But the energy they bring attracts the people, the ideas, the resources to make it real. If they waited for proof, they never would have started. Your dream life works the same way. If you want financial freedom, don't wait until the money shows up to feel abundant. Start by carrying yourself like someone who already creates value, already has access to opportunities. If you want love, don't wait until someone chooses you to feel lovable. Radiate love, bring love into every interaction, and you'll attract it naturally. If you want confidence, wait for success to validate you. Bring confidence now, act as if you belong, and success will be drawn to you. Energy creates momentum, and momentum creates results. Now let's get real. There are going to be days when you don't feel like it. Days when the weight of circumstances tries to crush your spirit. Days when the evidence in front of you screams, it's not working. That's the moment where champions are made. Because anyone can have energy when everything's going their way. Anyone can feel confident when they're winning. But the ones who change their lives are the ones who can summon energy in the middle of the storm. The ones who can walk into uncertainty with certainty. Who can generate enthusiasm when nothing seems to be working. That's the difference maker. And you might say, but I don't feel that way. How do I create energy when I don't feel it? The answer is simple. Motion creates emotion. If you change your body, you change your state. Stand up tall, breathe deeper, move with power, speak louder. Your nervous system shifts instantly. You can't slump your shoulders, hang your head, and breathe shallow and expect to feel unstoppable. You've got to break that pattern. It starts with the body, then it feeds the mind, and soon the energy rises. And once your energy rises, your actions change. When you live like this, you stop negotiating with your limitations. You stop saying, I'll wait until I feel ready. Ready is a myth. If you wait until you're ready, you'll miss the moment. Energy doesn't wait for readiness. It creates readiness. It tells your brain and your body, we're going now. That urgency, that intensity pulls you into action, and action creates the evidence. This is why some people seem lucky. You look at them and think, why does everything go their way? It's not luck, it's energy. They show up with such conviction that the world responds. People trust them because they trust themselves. People follow them because their energy is a beacon. They're not waiting for proof. They're generating it in real time through their energy. Here's the truth. You don't need to be perfect to bring energy. You don't need every answer. You don't need every resource. You just need to show up fully alive. You need to train yourself to step into every moment with the energy of the person who already has what you want. Because if you show up small, if you show up half asleep, if you show up like life is happening to you instead of through you, you'll keep confirming the same old story. But if you bring energy before evidence, the story changes. So ask yourself, what energy are you bringing right now? Are you showing up like someone who's already living their dream life, like someone who's still waiting for permission? Because the truth is, nobody's coming to hand you the dream. Nobody's coming to give you a certificate that says, you're ready now. You've got to claim it with your energy. You've got to decide, this is who I am. This is how I show up. This is the standard I bring every day. And when you live like that consistently, the evidence starts stacking. The results start appearing. The opportunities begin to find you. Energy is the currency of transformation. It's the spark that ignites identity into action. Without it, the dream stays a dream. With it, the dream starts breathing. And the best part is, energy is something you control. You don't have to wait for the economy to change. You don't have to wait for your past to disappear. You don't have to wait for someone to choose you. You decide in this moment to bring energy before evidence. And when you do, your life begins to shift because life always mirrors the energy you bring to it. So remember, if you want to live your dream life, don't wait for proof. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for conditions to line up. Bring the energy now, live from that state now, and watch as the evidence catches up to match the standard you've already set. We've talked about identity. We've talked about energy. Let's talk about the thing that actually locks your dream life into reality, your standards. Because let me tell you something, your dream life doesn't come from what you do once in a while. It doesn't come from a burst of motivation. It doesn't come from wishing or waiting. It comes from what you do every single day when no one's watching, when nobody is clapping, when it would be easier to cut corners. The quality of your life is a direct reflection of the standards you set for yourself. Most people don't fail because of a lack of potential. They fail because they have standards that are too low. They settle. They tolerate. They say things like, this is good enough. And what they really mean is, I'm afraid to demand more of myself. But the truth is, whatever you tolerate, you get to keep. If you tolerate being tired every day, you'll live tired. If you tolerate being broke, you'll stay broke. If you tolerate toxic relationships, you'll stay stuck in them. It's not because you deserve that level. It's because your standards allowed it. Think about it. Every time you raise your standards, your life changes. The moment you stop tolerating excuses, your productivity skyrockets. The moment you stop tolerating mediocrity in your health, you start making choices that bring vitality. The moment you stop tolerating small thinking, your mind starts searching for bigger possibilities. It's not magic, it's standards. Standards are the invisible force guiding every decision you make. And here's the thing, you already live by standards. Everyone does. The only question is, they empowering you or limiting you? Do they serve the dream life you want, or do they keep you trapped in the life you've been trying to escape? If your standard is, I'll just do enough to get by, then guess what? You'll get by. If your standard is, I don't stop until it's done, until it's excellent, until it reflects who I truly am, then you'll create results most people only dream about. When you look at the most successful people in any area, health, wealth, relationships, contribution, it's not luck, it's not chance. It's their daily standards. Their standard of how they eat, how they train, how they treat people, how they manage their time, how they use their mind. Those standards stack up day after day, week after week, year after year, until the gap between them and everyone else is massive. That's why people call it discipline. But it's not really discipline, it's identity plus standards. Once you raise your standards, the behavior becomes automatic. Let's make it personal. Think of a time in your life when you absolutely refused to settle. Maybe it was a relationship that wasn't serving you and you finally said, enough. Maybe it was a job that was crushing your spirit and you finally decided to leave. Maybe it was a health scare that woke you up. What happened the moment you raised your standard, you made a decision, you cut off any other option. In that moment, your life changed. The same power exists right now. You don't need a crisis to raise your standards. You can decide today. Now, I'm not talking about perfection. I'm talking about progress. Raising your standards doesn't mean you never stumble. It means even when you stumble, you don't accept staying down. It means even when you fail, you don't make failure your identity. It means you get back up faster because your standard is, I don't quit. I don't give up. I don't accept less than what I'm capable of. That's how standards reshape your destiny. So let's break it down to the daily level because that's where the magic happens. What are the rituals, the habits negotiables that match your dream life. If your dream life is filled with health and energy, then maybe your standard is, I move my body every day, no matter what. Not when it's convenient, not when you feel like it, every day, because that's who you are. If your dream life includes financial freedom, maybe your standard is, I invest a portion of every dollar I earn. I never spend more than I make. I learn every day about creating value. If your dream life includes deep relationships, maybe your standard is, I show up fully, I listen deeply, I express gratitude every single day. These aren't random acts. These are standards. The problem is, too many people treat their dream life like a lottery ticket. They think one big break, one big moment, one stroke of luck will change everything. But it's not the lottery, it's deposits in the bank of your future. Every small action, every daily standard is a deposit. And over time, the interest compounds. One day you wake up and people call it overnight success. But you know the truth, it was standards stacked over years that built it. Now here's what's important. Raising your standards is not about willpower. Willpower fades. Standards last. When you make something a standard, it's no longer negotiable. You don't ask, should I do it? You don't ask, do I feel like it? It's who you are. It's just what you do. That's why the most powerful phrase you can say is, this is my standard, not I hope, not I'll try. But this is who I am, and anything less is not acceptable. And when you lock in those standards, you stop living at the mercy of your mood. You start saying, I'll do it if I feel good. You start saying, I'll feel good because I did it. Action creates emotion, and standards create action. That's how you shift your entire life. So let me challenge you right now. What's one area of your life where you've been tolerating too little? Where you've been saying, it's fine, it's okay, I can live with it? What if you decided today that it's no longer acceptable? If you raised your standard in that one area, how would your life look 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now? Because that one shift could cascade into everything else. This is why your dream life isn't far away. It's hiding inside your standards. Change them and everything else begins to change. You don't need to wait for luck. You don't need to wait for permission. You don't need to wait for circumstances. You just need to raise your standards and live by them daily. Because when you do, the dream life you imagine stops being a fantasy and starts becoming inevitable. Once you've shifted your identity and raised your standards, there's another tool that multiplies your power. It's the ability to see it before you live it, to feel it before it shows up, to experience it in your mind so clearly that your nervous system begins to believe it's already real. That's the power of visualization. Most people think visualization is daydreaming. They think it's just sitting around and imagining something nice, like watching a movie in your head. That's not what I'm talking about. Talking about deliberately training your mind to accept a new level of life as normal, so your body, your emotions, and your actions begin to move toward it automatically. Your brain can't tell the difference between something vividly imagined and something vividly experienced. If you play it with enough intensity, the nervous system wires it in as real. That's why athletes use it. That's why peak performers use it. That's why you must use it if you're serious about living your dream life. Think about a time when you worried about something. You imagined the worst case scenario. You pictured it over and over. You felt it in your body. Even though it hadn't happened, your palms sweated, your heart raced, your stomach tightened. Why? Because your nervous system was convinced it was real. Worry is visualization in the wrong direction. It's proof that your brain doesn't need evidence to respond, it just needs focus. The same process that makes people anxious is the same process that can make you unstoppable if you use it intentionally. So imagine flipping that switch. Instead of rehearsing fear, rehearse power. Instead of imagining failure, imagine victory. Don't just see it. Feel it, hear it, step into it. Close your eyes and picture yourself waking up in your dream life. What does the room look like? Does your body feel? What's the first thing you say when you look in the mirror? Who are the people around you? What kind of energy fills the air? The more detail you add, the more your brain wires it in. And here's the key. Watch it like a movie where you're sitting in the audience. Step into it as if you are living it right now. See through your own eyes, feel the emotions. Walk in that environment. When you practice that consistently, subconscious begins to accept it as the standard. And when your subconscious accepts it, your behaviors shift automatically to match it. You might say, but isn't that just pretending? No, it's conditioning. It's giving your brain a new script to run. If you don't write the script, the world will write one for you. If you don't feed your mind a vision of your dream life, it will default back to the old patterns, the old identity, the old limitations. Visualization is how you interrupt that cycle and install a new one. Let me give you an example. Years ago, there were studies done with basketball players. One group practiced free throws physically every day. Another group only visualized making free throws, no physical practice at all. And the third group did nothing. At the end of the study, the group that practiced physically improved. The group that only visualized improved almost as much as the physical group. They weren't moving their bodies, but their nervous system was rehearsing success so vividly that when they finally picked up the ball, their body already knew what to do. That's the power of visualization. Now imagine applying that to your finances, to your health, to your relationships, to your career. Imagine rehearsing yourself walking into a meeting with total confidence. Imagine practicing conversations where you communicate with love and clarity. Imagine seeing yourself wake up energized, moving through your day with passion and power. If you do that enough, when the real moment comes, you won't freeze because your mind will say, I've been here before. This is normal. This is who I am. The danger is that most people are already visualizing the wrong things. They picture themselves failing, being rejected, running out of money, being judged. They replay past mistakes as if they're movies that never end. And then they wonder why they feel stuck, anxious, and unmotivated. It's because they've trained their nervous system to expect the worst. If you're going to run pictures in your mind anyway, and you are, why not make them images that empower you instead of imprison you? So here's how you do it. Every day, take a few minutes to step into the life you want. Not someday, the life you want now. Put yourself there. If you want wealth, don't just imagine numbers in a bank account. See yourself creating value, building opportunities, making intelligent choices. If you want health, just see the number on the scale. See yourself running, moving, breathing strong, living in a body that feels alive. If you want love, don't just see a picture of a person. See yourself showing up as the kind of partner that attracts that love, living in a state of gratitude and joy. Make it vivid, make it emotional, make it real. And when you come out of that visualization, carry the feeling with you into your day. Just leave it on the meditation mat or in the quiet moment. Bring it into every decision, every action. Because the real goal of visualization isn't just to escape into fantasy. It's to condition your nervous system so deeply that when you're faced with choices, you naturally act like the person you've already rehearsed being. This is why visualization is not optional if you want to create your dream life. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity, because your mind is the control center. Your body follows your mind, your actions follow your body, your results follow your actions. If the control center is filled with doubt and fear, you'll keep repeating the past. If it's filled with vision and certainty, you'll keep creating the future. So ask yourself, what are you visualizing every day? You rehearsing problems or are you rehearsing possibilities? Are you training your nervous system for fear or are you training it for power? The answer to that question determines the direction of your life. Remember, your dream life isn't something you stumble into by accident. It's something you condition into your nervous system until it becomes inevitable. Visualization is the tool that makes that conditioning possible. There's a trap that keeps most people stuck, and it's one of the deadliest lies you can ever believe. It's the lie that you need to wait for the right conditions before you act. People say, when the timing is right, then I'll start. Or when I have more money, then I'll build the business. Or when I feel confident, but I'll take the risk. But life doesn't reward people who wait for conditions. It rewards people who act with courage regardless of the conditions. If you look back on every breakthrough in your life, I guarantee you it didn't come because everything lined up perfectly. It came because you made a decision to act in the face of uncertainty. You said, I don't know how this is going to work out. I'm going to move anyway. That moment of courage changed everything. If you had waited until it felt safe, you'd still be waiting. Conditions will never be perfect. There will always be something missing, always a reason to delay, always a voice telling you not yet. If you listen to that voice, years can slip by and nothing changes. But if you silence that voice and take action in the middle of uncertainty, you create momentum, and momentum creates results. Think about a rocket leaving Earth. The conditions are never perfect. There's resistance, there's gravity, there's weight. But once it ignites and pushes past the atmosphere, the resistance fades and the rocket soars effortlessly. That ignition is courage. Most people never ignite. They sit on the launch pad, checking the weather, checking the fuel, waiting for the perfect day that never comes. And in the end, their dream never leaves the ground. The truth is, courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward in spite of fear. It's saying, I feel the doubt, I feel the uncertainty, but I'm not going to let it control me. When you do that, something powerful happens. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to prove to yourself that you're stronger than the fear, that you're capable more than you thought. And that trust is worth more than any external evidence, because once you know you can count on yourself, the world can throw anything at you and you'll still move. The reason most people don't act with courage is because they've conditioned themselves to wait for certainty. Certainty doesn't come before the leap. It comes after. You can't know all the answers until you're in the arena. You can't see all the steps until you start walking. You can't build the muscle of courage by sitting on the couch analyzing. You build it by moving when you're scared, when it's risky, when everything inside you wants to retreat. That's how you expand your capacity. And here's what's amazing. Every time you act with courage, you shrink the power of fear. Used to terrify you becomes normal. The phone call that once made you sweat becomes routine. The presentation that once made you panic becomes easy. The risk that once felt impossible becomes just another step. That's how growth works. You push through one barrier, then the next, until what was once terrifying is now your comfort zone. But you'll never experience that evolution if you wait for conditions to feel comfortable first. Some of you are sitting here right now with dreams you've been holding on to for years. You've thought about them, you've talked about them, you've even planned them, but you haven't acted. And the reason isn't that you don't know what to do. The reason is you're waiting for conditions to line up. You're telling yourself, when the kids are older, when I have more time, when the economy improves, when I feel ready. Let me tell you, if you keep waiting for conditions, you'll be waiting on your deathbed with those same excuses. The people who create their dream life aren't the ones with the best conditions. They're the ones who decide to create the conditions by acting now. They decide that courage will be their fuel, not circumstances. They bet on themselves before the world does. And because of that, the world eventually catches up and confirms what they already knew. Ask yourself, is the area in your life where you've been waiting for conditions, where you've been holding back because it doesn't feel safe yet? And what would happen if, instead of waiting, you took one bold step today? Not 10, not the whole plan, just one courageous step. How much momentum would that create? Because once you taste that momentum, it feeds you, it builds you, it shows you that you don't need perfect conditions. You just need courage. Remember, life is not about eliminating fear. Never goes away completely. But when you choose courage, fear loses its grip. It may whisper, but it no longer controls you. And as you stack those acts of courage, you build a life that reflects not your conditions, but your decisions. If you want to live your dream life, stop waiting, stop negotiating with fear. Stop believing the lie that tomorrow will be easier. It won't. The only thing that changes tomorrow is what you decide today. Conditions don't build your dream life. Courage does. There's one final piece to truly living as if your dream life is already yours, and it's the piece most people overlook. It's gratitude. Gratitude is the key that unlocks the dream, because without it, nothing you achieve will ever feel like enough. You can have the money, you can have the freedom, you can have the recognition, but if you don't feel grateful, you'll always feel empty. Gratitude is what takes the life you already have and multiplies it. It's what transforms your perspective so you can see the abundance that's already here. Too many people are so focused on what's missing that they can't see what they already have. They live in a state of, I'll be happy when? I'll be happy when I get that job. I'll be happy when I have that relationship. I'll be happy when I make that amount of money. But the moment you finally get that thing, your mind just shifts the finish line further. You say, okay, now I'll be happy when I have more. And so you chase and chase. No matter how much you achieve, you never arrive. Gratitude ends that cycle. Gratitude says, I already have everything I need to feel alive, to feel blessed, to feel fulfilled. It doesn't mean you stop growing. It doesn't mean you stop dreaming bigger. It means you appreciate the journey while you're building the dream. When you live in that state, you actually attract more because life responds to the energy you put out. If you radiate lack, you push opportunities away. If you radiate gratitude, you become magnetic. Think about it. Have you ever been around someone who's always complaining, always focused on what's wrong, always negative? Do you want to help them? Do you want to pour into them? Probably not. Now think about someone who radiates gratitude, someone who lights up because they see the beauty in the small things, someone who says, thank you for even the little wins. Don't you want to be around that energy? Don't you want to support that person? That's how life works. Gratitude opens doors that effort alone never could. And gratitude isn't just an idea, it's a practice. It's something you choose daily in the big moments and the small. It's easy to be grateful when life gives you what you want. It's easy to be grateful when the money flows, when the body feels strong, when the love is overflowing. But the real power is being grateful even in the struggle, because gratitude in the struggle turns pain into wisdom. Gratitude in the storm turns fear into faith. Gratitude in the face of loss turns despair into strength. That's when gratitude isn't just a word, it's a force. And here's what's incredible: when you're grateful, fear disappears. You can't be fearful and grateful at the same time. You can't be angry and grateful at the same time. Gratitude dissolves those lower emotions because it lifts your perspective. You stop asking what's missing, and you start asking what's already here. You stop focusing on what you've lost and you start appreciating what you've gained. That shift changes everything. Your dream life doesn't begin when every external condition is perfect. It begins when you look at your life as it is now and say, this is already a gift. Maybe it's not where you want it to be yet. Maybe you're not at the level you dream of. But you woke up today, you're breathing, you're alive, you have another chance. And if you can't appreciate that, nothing you achieve will ever be enough. But when you cultivate gratitude, the smallest things become miracles. A smile from a stranger, a hug from a friend, the food on your table, the air in your lungs. You start to see it all as abundance. And when you see abundance, you begin to live in abundance. That's when your dream life stops being something out there in the future and starts being something you experience every day. Some people think gratitude makes you soft, that if you're grateful, you'll stop pushing, stop striving, stop achieving. But gratitude doesn't weaken you. It strengthens you. It gives you joy in the process so you don't burn out. It gives you resilience when setbacks come because you can still find something to appreciate. It gives you perspective so you don't miss the beauty of the journey while you're chasing the destination. Gratitude fuels achievement. It doesn't replace it. So how do you make gratitude real? You don't just think it, you feel it. You don't just say, I'm grateful with words, you embody it with your heart. Take time each day to pause and truly feel thankful. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, bring to mind 3 things you're grateful for. Not surface things, but moments, experiences, people, blessings that stir emotion in you. Feel that warmth in your chest. Feel that aliveness. That state is what rewires your mind. Do it daily and it becomes your natural home. And when you live from that home, your dream life stops being something you chase. It becomes something you carry with you because you realize it's not about someday, it's about right now. Right now, you can be grateful. Right now, you can live with abundance. Right now, you can see that life is already happening for you. That shift turns ordinary days into extraordinary ones. So if you truly want to unlock your dream life, start with gratitude. Because when you're grateful for the life you already have, you open the door for the life you've been dreaming of. And when you live in that state consistently, you stop waiting for the dream. You realize you're already in it.